At Boise State Public Radio, we understand that not everyone is able to give financially. Did you know there are other ways you can give? We are looking for new volunteers to add to our ranks and have a variety of opportunities.
Who wants to volunteer?
If you're interested in a hands-on volunteer experience, visit our website under the Support tab to find out more at boisestatepublicradio.org.
Thank you to all the staff and volunteers who are part of Boise State Public Radio.
It's the Connector Idaho Daily News for Thursday, July 30th. I'm Troy Oppie. Here are today's headlines. 2 members of the Idaho National Guard are the subject of a tort claim accused of assault in Washington, D.C. The city of Kuna says its treasurer has died, and Idaho is among 2 western states contending to take on storage of nuclear waste in exchange for federal support for new nuclear tech. We start, though, on the fire lines. Idaho Governor Brad Little is deploying members of the Idaho Army National Guard to help firefighters, specifically on the Big Grass Fire that started by lightning in eastern Oregon late last week. It's grown to more than 300,000 acres and crossed into Idaho. The fire is burning in difficult terrain, important rangeland, sage-grouse and pronghorn habitat, and it's threatening hundreds of homes, including the historic Silver City area, which is under a Level 2 evacuation warning as of Wednesday. The Bureau of Land Management has closed most of its land in Owyhee County due to the fire. Governor Little Wednesday also declared a fire disaster emergency, a move which unlocks additional state resources for firefighting. The declaration came hours after Idaho Democrats say they sent a letter to Governor Little and Oregon Governor Tina Kotek asking them to activate state National Guard personnel for wildfire work. Officials on the Big Grass Fire say it is now 15% contained. Level 3 evacuation orders remain in place for many parts of Owyhee County along the Idaho-Oregon border. Many local firefighters and ranchers continue to work the fire lines along with newly arrived federal crews. Fire managers say they've continued to, quote, compete for air resources, which are very busy and in high demand on other major fires in Oregon. Heavy smoke along the southeast edge of the fire has also hurt the ability to bring in air support. The Big Grass Fire is one of the blazes responsible for the degraded air quality across southwest and south central Idaho. Wildfires continue to pour smoke into our region, and the Department of Environmental Quality recommends people should stay indoors when air quality is this bad. Julie Luqueta has a look at the impact of smoke on people's health.
According to DEQ, air quality in the Treasure Valley has ranged from unhealthy to hazardous since July 20th.
This could be categorized as, apocalyptic. You would not want this to go on for very long.
That's Luke Montrose, an environmental toxicologist at Colorado State University. He says wildfire smoke is made of very small particles, think 1/50th of the size of a grain of sand, that can bob and weave through the nose's filtering process before settling in the lungs.
Your lungs are built to breathe in oxygen and exchange that oxygen across the blood. If your lungs aren't able to do that because there's stuff in the way, then that's a problem.
He says the chemical composition of wildfire smoke also varies greatly depending on what fires burn through and can contain compounds as toxic as those released by industrial manufacturing.
That's not a campfire. That's not background urban air pollution.
Short-term symptoms from exposure can include asthma flare-ups, allergies, and cardiovascular distress. Montrose says more funding is needed to understand the long-term effects of smoke on the immune system, brain, and reproductive organs. Julie Luqueta, Boise State Public Radio News.
2 members of the Idaho National Guard are now the subject of a tort claim filed by a Washington, D.C. woman alleging the Guard members assaulted her on her front porch May 8th of this year. Anna King is a retired U.S. Army captain who earned a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star during her military service. She's also a vocal opponent of National Guard troops being deployed to Washington, D.C. by the Trump administration. That's what her claim, as released by the American Civil Liberties Union, says was the reason she was targeted for protest signs on her property. She says the 2 Idaho Guardsmen, among others, entered her property without a warrant, eventually telling a neighbor they were taking her into custody for an alleged assault on Guardsmen days prior. No charges have been filed against King for any previous incident, though the Idaho Statesman reports she is now facing assault charges for allegedly resisting the Guardsmen who arrested her May 8th. In her claim, King says the Idaho Guardsmen threw her to the ground and knelt on top of her, forcing her into the pavement for 15 minutes and causing injury. She says zip tie cuffs were so tight on her wrists that D.C. Metro Police, who responded to the incident, could not cut them off when they tried. King's claim is for $3 million. The government has 6 months to respond to the tort before a lawsuit could be filed. The city of Kuna says its treasurer, Jared Empey, has died. The Lynn County Sheriff's Office in Oregon reports Empey was identified by his wife as having missed a check-in July 24th while he was on a solo climbing trip on Mount Jefferson. Oregon officials had received a report that a climber had been seen falling off that mountain and later found gear identified as Empey's. Witnesses told the sheriff's office the fall was not survivable. Search crews have not found a body. Empey is survived by his wife and 8 children, with a 9th on the way, according to the city of Kuna. Mayor Joe Steer said Empey's work as city treasurer had brought Kuna to, quote, levels that didn't seem possible. Idaho and Utah are among the contenders to take on a role in storing nuclear waste and receive federal support to build new nuclear tech. The Mountain West News Bureau's Rachel Cohen reports it comes after decades of failed efforts to find a home for the country's spent nuclear fuel.
The Department of Energy announced 5 finalists this week for its effort to develop nuclear life cycle innovation campuses: Tennessee, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Utah, and Idaho. Michael Gerard, a law professor at Columbia University, says the federal government is pairing waste storage with the promise of new nuclear industry.
I think the idea is that a nuclear waste storage facility creates very few jobs. You put the stuff there and you walk away. But these other facilities could create a lot of jobs and economic activity.
DOE says 26 states applied. The voluntary approach marks a shift. Plans to put the waste deep underground at Yucca Mountain in Nevada stalled because of local opposition. But the push for solutions is gaining urgency as interest in nuclear energy grows. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Rachel Cohen.
An Idaho Utilities wildfire mitigation plan has been rejected by the state's Public Utilities Commission. In a news release, the IPUC says Raft River Electric Co-op's plans were a good start, but lacked the comprehensive information needed for approval. Raft River Electric serves customers in the Malta area of southeast Idaho. The commission provided suggestions on how the utility needed to improve its plan in order to receive approval, including specifying how the utility chooses and implements projects meant to reduce the risk of wildfire. Wildfire mitigation plans can offer some legal protections for utilities whose equipment is determined to have started a wildfire, provided that the utility was following the guidelines of its wildfire plan at the time of an incident. Construction crews are putting the finishing touches on the north end zone renovation project at Boise State's Albertsons Stadium. There will be fewer total seats in that area than before. The school, though, has added field-level suites, club section seating, and a new lounge area under the stands for club section ticket holders. Most of the furniture in the club lounge and suites was custom-made by prison inmates and the state's Correctional Industries program. Nathan Burke, Chief Operating Officer for Sports and Entertainment at Boise State, said he felt the quality was better than custom pieces they might have ordered on the open market for about the same price.
And couldn't speak more highly of the program that they have going on out there. And I mean, they're different than a lot of the furniture manufacturers and distributors that we ordered from because they don't have a book of business to look at and all the pretty pictures. And so we took a bit of a leap of faith on that and couldn't be more pleased with how some of that turned out.
Burke also says the school was able to get construction materials like steel ordered ahead of tariffs implemented by the Trump administration, and that meant a more than 7-figure savings compared to if they've waited. He says they were able to use some contingency funds to add features from the wish list instead of having to pay for cost overruns. The North End Zone seats will be open for Banana Ball this Friday and Saturday. Some amenities, though, will debut September 12th at Boise State football's home opener. The new North End Zone concourse connects the east and west grandstands with new bathrooms, food and beverage options, open to all ticket holders. In sports, Athletic Club Boise had a 3-game League One winning streak snapped yesterday on the road at Greenville, South Carolina, in a 3-2 loss to Triumph SC. Jesus Barea and Dennis Kostashin each had a goal and assist in the loss. AC Boise returns home for a Saturday match against Corpus Christi FC. Kickoff set for 7:30 this weekend at AC Boise Stadium at Expo, Idaho. And that's your connector for July 30th. If you've ever wanted to see what it's like at a radio station, yeah, that's where this podcast comes from, At Boise State Public Radio, we're looking for new volunteers to add to our ranks. We have a variety of opportunities. If you're interested in a hands-on volunteer experience supporting public radio in your community, visit our website and click the support tab for more. That's boisestatepublicradio.org. I'll be back with another episode of The Connector tomorrow. Make it a great day.
Each story you hear on Planet Money starts with a question. What happens if we refund tariffs? Why are groceries so expensive? At NPR, we stand for your right to be curious because the forces shaping our world can be hard to see. Follow NPR's Planet Money wherever you get your podcasts and start seeing how the economy really works.